Hi, Janonius here. Today I'm going to explain a movie called Risky Business. Enjoy. The movie starts with a senior high school student dreaming about going into an open house and finding a girl taking shower, asking him to wash her back. But while approaching towards her, he keeps losing her, all the steam and stuff. And then he finds himself in the classroom taking SAT exam. His exam goes so-so. Later, that night he tells his friends how he had sex with a babysitting girl. But his friends make fun him knowing that that's not how it went. His best friend Miles advises him to say, "What the fuck, now and then," and care less about things going on in life. Joel lives with his wealthy parents, who want him to go Princeton, an Ivy League college. His father arranges a meeting with Bill Rutherford from Princeton College, and then they leave for a trip to Europe, leaving Joel alone in the big house and says to keep things in order. But Joel starts partying alone the whole night. The next day, while Joel and Barry doing a project for Future Enterprise, his friend Glenn comes with a girl for a room to have sex. Frustrated by their noise, Joel and Barry gets out in his daddy's Porsche 928 and have fun. The next day, Miles makes a call to a hooker named Jackie for Joel. At night, Jackie comes in. But it was a surprise. Joel, getting angry, calls Miles to come home, but he denies. Joel comes clean to Jackie. Jackie, understanding the situation, agrees to leave and gives Joel Lana's number, which Jackie claims every white man wants. Joel, later that night, while enjoying himself, gets interrupted by thoughts of his parents. Getting frustrated, he calls Lana. Beautiful Lana comes home and they perform natural obligations all night long. At morning, Lana asks for her payment, but Joel doesn't have $300. So he went to bank for a bond he has, but returns home finding Lana missing with Joel's mom's pricey egg. Joel and Miles plans to get it back. They go to a place where they find her by Jackie's help. Joel gets out of the place without even confronting her. But just by his car, Lana comes by and agrees to explain everything. They all get into the car. But then Lana's pimp, named Guido, comes and threatens with a gun. A car chase begins, but Joel manages to get it under control. The next morning, Lana tells Joel she has chest pain, and she owes Guido, the pimp, some medical bills. She asks some days to stay home before figuring things out. Joel warns her not to steal anything. Coming home from school, Joel finds out that Glenn having sex with Vicky, another prostitute, for $100, and Vicky tries to give Joel chapter 50% for the house. Figuring out what's going on, Joel asks Lana and Vicky to leave. But then Guido the pimp comes on and the girls runs into the home. Guido confronts Joel, threatens him not to mess with his livelihood. Joel agrees to let Lana and Vicky stay home for the night. At night they go out. Lana shares a business idea with Joel that with Lana's hooker friends and Joel's male friends, they can make a lot of money. But Joel denies. Accidentally, Joel's car fell into the river. And Joel finds himself in need of money for car damages and had to miss his exam the next day. He asks the school nurse for a missing card, but she denies. Joel gets violent and gets suspension. At this point, Joel decides to go with Lana's plan. Joel makes his friends into clients for the call girls and the plan goes pretty well. That night, Bill Rutherford comes for the college interview, and the interview goes something wrong. But Joel doesn't seem to care at the end. Bill leaves after talking with some girls. After paying the girls, Lana asks Joel to go on a train to have sex. They spent the night having sex on the train. In the morning, talking back his father's car, Joel returns home. But finds out everything in the house is missing. He calls Lana, but Guido the pimp answers. Guido gives back the furniture for all the money Joel has earned. Joel manages to get things in place just before his parents come home, but his mother finds out the egg has a crack in it. His mother gets angry. Later, Joel's father, talking to Bill Rutherford, tells him that he gets to go into Princeton, and feels very proud of him. Joel meets Lana at dinner, asks her if it was all just a setup. Lana denies but questions if Joel believes her or not. Joel replies, "I just don't want you to get hurt." The film ends with Joel and Lana flirting with each other. Please subscribe, and hit the like button, it helps a lot. Thank you so much for watching.